and welcome back to another week in new genre books. My name is Amelia, and from Locus magazine, we're going to tell you all the new science fiction, fantasy, and horror books being published the week of June 4th, 2024. This week, new releases range from wholesome, like magical foxes who work in coffee shops, to horrifying, including a zombie parasite that lives in the water supply. There's a real 80s vibe to this week's titles. We have tons of dark romantic fantasy and tons of teens taking on horrors in their small towns. Fans of hard science fiction will find multiple novels and 2 anthologies. Authors include Adrian Tchaikovsky, Lindsay, Ellis, Claire North, and Sean M. Maguire. Stay tuned. First up, science fiction, we have 7 titles. From Constance Fay, we have Fiasco, out from Bramble in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a science fiction romance novel, second in a series begun in Calamity. Bounty hunter Cymbeline Caw is ready to quit, but can't pass up a bounty on the kidnapper who killed her cousin. From Lindsay Ellis, we have Apostles of Mercy, out from St. Martin's in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a science fiction first contact novel, third in the Numinous series begun in Axiom's End. Cora Sabino develops an empathic relationship with an alien amygdaline, which might be key to saving Earth from a deadly alien race. From Rebecca Fraimow, we have Lady Eve's Last Con, out from Solaris UK in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a science fiction adventure novel with jazz age inspiration. Sisters and small-time hustlers plot revenge on wealthy corporate heir Esteban Mendez Yuki after he broke one of their hearts. And this is me editorializing. I was gonna shift that text to something more like broke one of the sisters' hearts, but this is science fiction. We don't know how many hearts anyone has, and we are apt to take language literally, like verbatim literally, which reminds me of the beginning of a Nina Kariki Hoffman story where somebody tells a god she's gonna go change into her overalls, and then she becomes overalls, like she's literally transmogrified into overalls. I don't think she spends the whole story as overalls, though that would be pretty limiting. From Lena Gibson, we have The Long Haul, Pursuit of Hope, out from Black Rose Writing in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a science fiction novel, the second book in the Train Hoppers series, set in the arid west of the former US in 2195, where a company controls agriculture by selling single-use seeds. Elsa and her friends flee for Canada, having found a source of propagatable seeds. From Yunaha Lee, we have Moonstorm, out from Delacorte in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a young adult science fiction novel, the first in the Lancers trilogy. Hua Young was orphaned by Imperial forces and adopted by the Empire that destroyed her home. Trying to shake her rebel past, she trains to be an Imperial pilot. Then Hua discovers a conspiracy that puts the entire world at risk, and she has to go back to her rebel roots to save her world. From Adrian Tchaikovsky, we have Service Model, out from Tor.com in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a science fiction novel. A domestic robot gets a nasty idea downloaded into its core programming and murders its owner. It now has the freedom to run away. Out in the wider world, it discovers human rule is disintegrating and robots are finding new purpose. From David Weber and Jacob Hollow, we have The Thermopylae Protocol, out from Baen in hardcover and ebook. This is a science fiction mystery novel, 6th in the Gordian Division series. When a ship from an uncharted universe explodes, it soon becomes apparent that someone is building a massive weapon away from the watchful eyes of the Gordian Division. Next up, fantasy, we have 13 titles. Quite a lot of American Gothic fantasy this week, with horror crossover. From Freddie Kolsch, we have debut novel Now Conjurers, out from Union Square in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a young adult dark fantasy romance novel set in 1999 Massachusetts. When the body of one of their members is discovered half devoured, a coven of queer teens takes on a wish-granting demon. From Molly Morris, we have Annie LeBlanc is Not Dead Yet, out from St. Martin's in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a young adult fantasy romance novel set in a California town where every 10 years, residents can enter a secret contest to resurrect the dead for 30 days. From Quinn Connor, we have The Pecan Children, out from Landmark in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a southern Gothic fantasy novel. Twin sisters, trying to save their farm and town, discover ghostly fires lighting up their pecan orchard. From Leslie Penelope, we have Daughter of the Mindful Deep, out from Red Hook in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a historical fantasy novel mixing folklore and African-American history in the American South in 1935. Jane, a mute young woman trying to save her all-black town from being flooded by a dam, gets help from a man from a magical underwater realm. From Nisha J. Tooley, we have Fate of the Sun King, out from Forever in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a romantic fantasy novel, third in the Artifacts of Oranos series. With the heart crown now in her possession, Lore must navigate the dangers of being an heir on the run. From K.A. Linde, we have The Wren in the Holly Library, out from Red Tower in hardcover ebook and audio. This is a fantasy romance novel, book 1 in the Oak and Holly cycle. 13 years ago, monsters emerged from the shadows and nearly destroyed the world until the Monster Treaty was created. Kierce, a thief, breaks the treaty by entering the Holly Library. From Sophie Kim, we have The God and the Gumiho, out from Del Rey in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a fantasy romance novel set in Korea, book 1 of the Fates Thread series. Kim Honey, a retired, soul-devouring nine-tailed fox working in a coffee shop, teams up with an annoying and unfairly handsome trickster god. What are they going to do? Kill a demon before it can destroy the world. From C.G. Malbury, we have debut novel Markless, out from Levine Querido in hardcover ebook and audio. This is a young adult fantasy novel. In a society where worth is determined by the mark on your palm and the magic it grants, an unmarked witch is forced into royal service. From Seanan McGuire, we have Tidal Creatures, out from Tor.com in hardcover ebook and audio. This is a fantasy novel, third in the Alchemical Journeys series. The immortal aspect of the lunar god Aska is murdered on the UC Berkeley campus, and linguistics grad student Judy, who hosts the god Chang'e, investigates. From Claire North, we have The Last Song of Penelope, out from Red Hook in hardcover ebook and audio. This is a fantasy novel based on Greek myth, the third in the Songs of Penelope trilogy, based on the story of Odysseus' wife. Odysseus returns at last, disguised as a beggar, to test the loyalty of his queen. From Molly Ringle, we have Ballad for Jasmine Town, out from Central Avenue Publishing in trade paperback and ebook. This is an urban fantasy novel, second in the Eidolonia series. Ralphie, half human and half fae, drifts between both worlds as he falls for Roxana, a matter witch. The truce between species is threatened by violence. From Rebecca Roanhorse, we have Mirrored Heavens, out from Saga Press in hardcover ebook and audio. This is an epic fantasy novel, third in the Between Earth and Sky trilogy. Serapio, avatar of the crown god reborn, and the newly crowned Carrion King, rules Tova, but a new prophecy is whispered. This one from the Coyote God. It promises certain doom if its terrible dictates are not fulfilled. From Erica Ivy Rogers, we have the debut novel Lady of Steel and Straw, out from Peachtree Teen in hardcover ebook and audio. This is a young adult fantasy novel inspired by The Three Musketeers, first book in the Waking Hearts duology. 10 years after a regicide, the immortal Scarecrow Guardians who once guarded the crown must surrender themselves to the Church of the Silent Gods, or face charges of treason. Next up, horror, we have 8 titles. From Matteo Cerilli, we have Lockjaw, out from Tundra in hardcover ebook and audio. This is a young adult horror novel of 2 queer teens in a community that doesn't accept them. When one is killed by a monster, the other has to prove it's real to clear herself and save the town. From K.A. Cobell, we have debut novel Looking for Smoke, out from Heartdrum in hardcover ebook and audio. This is a young adult thriller novel set on a Blackfeet reservation. A girl at a traditional giveaway is murdered, and each of the 4 members of the giveaway group have a complicated history with the murdered girl. From Stephen Dos Santos, we have Malicia, out from Page Street in hardcover ebook and audio. This is a young adult horror novel. 4 teens all have their own agendas while making a documentary about an abandoned theme park off the coast of the Dominican Republic, where a mass killing occurred. From Natalie Leaf, we have the debut novel Take All of Us, out from Holiday House in hardcover and ebook. This is a young adult horror novel. A parasite in the water of a West Virginia town turns the infected into zombie-like shells. When the town is evacuated, Ian gets left behind and is determined to find out why. From Ronald Malfi, we have Small Town Horror, out from Titan Books in hardcover ebook and audio. This is a horror novel involving a haunting and 5 childhood friends forced to return to their hometown and reunite to confront their dark past and a possible curse put on them. From E.K. Southway, we have Youth Juice, out from Hell's 100 in hardcover ebook and audio. This is a satirical horror novel. A new marketing writer at a luxury skincare/wellness company gets addicted to the new moisturizer she's asked to test and discovers its gruesome secret ingredient. From Bonnie Jo Stufflebeam, we have the debut novel Grimroot, out from Dark Matter Inc. in trade paperback and ebook. This is a cosmic horror novel about reality TV, in which a group of women on a reality TV dating show must compete for the hand of an eligible bachelor by spending a week in a haunted house. I mean, do you have to be alive to be an eligible bachelor? I don't know if you do. Maybe the bachelor is a ghost? What if he's particularly charming and a good listener? From Dana Elmendorf, we have In the Hour of Crows, out from Mira in hardcover ebook and audio. This is a magical realism novel. In a small town in Appalachia, Weatherly Opal Wilder is a death talker who can talk the death out of the dying once per person, until her ability suddenly fails her. Finally, in anthology, we have 2 hard science fiction anthologies. From C. Stuart Hardwick, we have Tales of the United States Space Force, out from Baen in trade paperback and ebook. This is an anthology of new fiction and nonfiction, which addresses the imminent possibilities of war in space. Story authors include Arthur C. Clarke, Larry Niven, David Brin, Jody Lynn Nye, Martin L. Shoemaker, and Murray Vibert. Essays from William F. Otto, Michael Morton, and C. Stuart Hardwick. From Allan Kaster, we have The Year's Top Hard Science Fiction Stories 8, out from Affinivox in ebook. This is a year's best anthology of science fiction stories and novellas published in 2023. Authors include Tobias S. Buckell, Gregory Feely, Carolyn Ives Gilman, Derek Kunskin, Jeffrey A. Landis, Rich Larson, Yoon Ha Lee, Marissa Lingen, James Maxey, Alec Navala Lee, Dominica Fetaplace, Alan M. Steele, and Peter Watts. That wraps up this week. Please come back and see us again next week, or subscribe and turn notifications on so that YouTube tells you when our next video is up. When we worry about robots taking our jobs, I don't know if we're that worried about them taking the stuff we don't like to do. We could all use a little tickler now and again to remind us what to do. Let the robot work for you. And don't forget, the Locus Awards are coming up the week of June 19th through 22nd in Oakland, California. I'll put a link in the description. It's our big annual award where we try to elevate the best titles of the year based on feedback from the community. It's a super fun weekend with lots of smart people talking about books and writing. We are at Locus Mag and at Locus Magazine on most platforms. Locus is a 501c3 nonprofit. We'll see you next week with more new books.